Announcing the Variety Entrepreneur Impact Award, presented by Wells Fargo. Please welcome Marcia Osborne, Chief Marketing Officer, Consumer Lending, Wells Fargo.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here at the Variety Entertainment and Technology Summit, along with so many leaders and innovators who are shaping the future of entertainment, business, and culture. Today, I have the privilege of presenting the Variety Entrepreneur Impact Award to someone whose vision, passion, and leadership embody the very best of entrepreneurship, Gabrielle Union. Gabrielle Union is, of course, a celebrated actress, but also a producer, a New York Times best-selling author, and trailblazing entrepreneur. With her husband, Dwayne Reid, she co-founded Proudly in 2022, a baby care brand created specifically for babies of color by people of color who truly understand their needs. Proudly fills what has been a major gap in infant hair and skin care with innovation, passion, and inclusion. Kids of color are 2 times more likely to suffer from skin conditions such as eczema. Proudly formulates products for the needs of the darkest skin tones, which are more prone to dryness. The brand has become a trusted go-to for families seeking products that reflect their lived experiences. And most recently, Proudly launched baby apparel, continuing its mission to deliver beautiful, practical solutions for everyday parenting. Gabrielle continues to show us her ability to turn her passions into products that make a tangible difference in people's lives. At Wells Fargo, we are committed to empowering entrepreneurs like Gabrielle and helping them succeed financially. We serve over 3 million small business customers and want to be the bank for all business owners. We earn business owners' trust by prioritizing their needs, enhancing their experiences through digital innovation, and evolving our support model to strengthen relationships. If Gabrielle would like to join me on stage. Gabrielle, your work with Proudly is a shining example of how entrepreneurship can do more than create a successful business, but also create lasting cultural impact. On behalf of Wells Fargo, it is my privilege to present you with the Variety Entrepreneur Impact Award.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm honored to be honored. All I wanted to do was help, and make sure that I covered the most vulnerable of us and centered the needs, wants, desires, fears of folks who have been historically marginalized. And I found that when I do that in my art and in my entrepreneurship, my soul sings. And that's what it all boils down to. Can I sleep with myself? Can I sleep at night? Can I live with myself? And the way that I approach everything is with that in mind first. It starts out, I just want to be able to help my family. And then I was like, well, if I can help my family, maybe I can help your family. I can help, those families can help other families. And if I can change the way business is done, instead of being hyper-focused on how we can exploit, but rather uplift, I think there's another way to get to the finish line. So I am really pleased and humbled to receive this award, and I want to thank Variety and Wells Fargo and my homegirl who's about to ask me some questions for this award. And thank you guys all for being here. And if you want to join us, we're about to have a little chat. Get comfortable, guys. I don't think there's cocktails, but we can pretend. Thank you.
Introducing A Conversation with Gabrielle Union, interviewed by Angelique Jackson, Senior Entertainment Writer, Variety.
Well, thank you so much, Gabrielle. And again, congratulations. I love this award, and I love this idea because what we're celebrating is the idea of making an impact. And you just said so beautifully that you felt as if you could do something for your family and then maybe do something for others. You know, that would be lasting. That's the lasting change we're after. So I'm really curious to kind of trace that back just a little bit to recognizing you had that power. When did you realize that you had the power to make an impact?
I think my first big press tour, right? And I'm sitting there with, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, and we have a global audience. And they were asking me about who was the better kisser, of all the love interests. And I was like, okay, well, it's Will Smith. I'm not just saying that because he's on the couch. But while I had that microphone in my hand, I knew I could speak truth to power and I could make real change with my time in the sun. So that was the first time I was like, wow, people are listening to me and they're printing what I'm saying and it's traveling around the world. So maybe I should say something of substance that helps more than just me.
And your business journey has taken you onto a bunch of different hyphenations. You are a best-selling author. You are the founder of Flawless, your hair care line, and then you have the hair, skin, and bum care beginnings of Proudly, and now you are into apparel there. There are so many different of those hyphenations. When did you kind of realize, not to mention, of course, film and television producer, when did you realize that kind of you could transition the entertainment aspect and what you were just saying, that people will listen to you talk about your movies, into like actual consumer goods and trying to, put products on the shelves?
I think when I realized that as long as you tell the truth consistently, you live reasonably transparently, people will trust you, whether that's with a movie or a TV show or a product. And I've never betrayed that trust. And that allows me to tell different kinds of stories, to be in different kind of stories, to create companies, again, that center the needs, wants, desires, fears of the most vulnerable. If those people can trust that I have their best interest at heart and I'm going to do right by them, I can do anything. I don't want to appeal to the 1%. You know what I mean? The trickle down, we're all still waiting for that trickle down. But if you cover the masses, you can't lose if you center those people. And I realize that it starts with the truth. Too many of us get a microphone in our hands and we just start to lying. It's not the way. The truth is the way. And making sure that you use your time to cover not just yourself, but other people. I'm always going to talk about the north side of Omaha, right? I'm always going to talk about what it is to be an actress of color in this town. I'm always going to be fighting with BA, if there is BA in this room at any of the network studios. You know me. I'm always going to be fighting for not just my money, but my creatives as well. But it all starts with the truth and acknowledging it and calling a thing a thing.
I'm actually so glad you mentioned BA because I was really curious about, it started out as film and TV productions. You produced Being Mary Jane, of course. And yes, definitely give that one a round of applause. And then also you just had these two big hits this past year with The Perfect Find and with The Idea of You. So it has gone on and continued. I was wondering what lessons that you've learned from just the negotiations in the entertainment business that you then took to, when you're working with somebody like JCPenney and trying to create those contracts.
I think the biggest negotiation that left the lasting impact was my prenup. Because your first offer tells me everything I need to know about the experience I'm about to have, right? If I walk away with this amount, that's what you're okay with that. And if I don't think if I'm worthy enough or I deserve more, you're okay with that. And that sets the tone. So I don't do that. When I'm fighting with BA on behalf of our creatives, get out of the way, the ego, the pride, the vibes. Look at the data. This person puts asses in the seats. This is how much they should make. I know they might not be the most popular in your circle, but for the rest of the world, they are the people's champ, and they deserve to be treated with respect financially, structurally. And you're leaving money on the table because your ego can't take a back seat, right? So, I mean, I'm reminded of this one negotiation with a studio that shall remain nameless, where we have a multi-time, nominated actress who all she wanted was a producer credit. And she wasn't asking for additional money, just credit for the work that she was putting in. And the studio was like, no. Why? No. And I'm like, she's not asking for money. I'm like, are you guys confused? No. We just don't think, like, what we're offering is good enough. For who? She deserves this. And I had to personally threaten to walk away from the project before they would finally acquiesce and give her the credit that it was due. But the whole deal could have fallen apart because of somebody's ego and what they decided someone else is worth. And I'm willing to fight. I'm willing to fight. I'll fight harder for your money than my own.
Well, we appreciate you fighting for us because it's also inspiring. Just the way that you just said, you've always kind of lived so authentically and honestly. And I was watching an interview with you recently where somebody asked you about how you balance all of this. And you said the most striking thing. You said, I don't have balance, I have grace. Or rather, not I have grace, I get grace. And I thought that was so interesting because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I can do it all, and I can do it all also at the same time. And you were very real about how you actually get it all done. So if you wouldn't mind sharing with this room also, too, how it is that you have all these hyphenations in your title.
The village, I grew up believing that you are your brother and sister's keeper, and if I got it, you got it. And my family and our extended, family of blood relatives and chosen family helped me do that. And without them, I don't get to do much of anything. I need help, a lot of help with childcare. I need a lot of help just when I have, when my PTSD is on my back and I feel frozen and I can't do anything and I want to literally hide under the table. I need someone to step in. And people have stepped in over and over and over and over again in my life to allow me the vastness of possibilities that have been presented to me. Same with my husband. And I also pointed out, I don't know if it was in that same interview, no one ever asked my husband, how do you balance it all? And the answer is, he doesn't. Child, do you think Pat Riley was helping us at pickup? No. But somebody was, and there should be no shame in saying, I don't have it all, I don't have the answers, and when I screw up, I admit it, I hold myself accountable, and I ask for help, and then I pivot, and I have a large village that gives me grace, and kind advice, and nudging when necessary. But no, nobody has it all, and I don't even know why we try to sell that pipe dream, because then everyone just feels like they're failing constantly.
I mean, and it also extends to the business element of what you all are doing as well, because you have actual investment from the people around you in Flawless. I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, because you had this hair care line to begin, and then you shuttered that and relaunched a few years later with your longtime hairstylist. What was your experience of starting something, realizing it wasn't working the way you wanted, and now finding new success in it?
Yeah, it's the power of the pivot. When it's not working or it doesn't sit right in my soul, I'm losing sleep, it's wrong, I have to pivot. And there's no shame in my game. I didn't like it, it did not work for me. I'm going to try again. I know I can create products that are effective, put them in stores that are accessible to the community that needs them, and I can get value. I can lean into the value of it all, affordability. the products that you need to function in society should not be luxury items, not in my opinion. And figuring that out. And then when we relaunched again, one of the things that they don't tell, that no one mentions, is coming out the gate to extreme success and selling out over and over and over again as a small company. You're not seeing that money immediately. So you've sold out. Okay, well, that's minimum $25K a SKU. Oh, it's sold out again. Okay, now that's $50,000, that's $50,000. Okay, and you keep selling out and you have 12 SKUs and everything stays sold out. Where is the money coming from? Because as if anyone here has had to try to wait for for the payments to come in, good luck. It's never when you need it. So you're always functioning off of a deficit, and it can lead to trouble. And we were not prepared for the enormous success that we came out of the gate with on our relaunch. To the point where now, with the way the economy is and the tariffs and everything that is impacting business, I still want to stick to my values of affordability. And these issues that are facing our company, those are me problems. I don't want to put me problems onto our customers. You know what I mean? It's not their fault. They should still be getting a great value. And in trying to stick to our core values, we've found partnership. We have pretty exciting news to announce soon with another brand that shares our value and love of textured hair and inclusivity and being able to offer the best and brightest products with key value at the center of it. And it allows us to expand on a global level. But you can never be too proud. Your ego should never stand in the way of progress. And I have to check myself over and over and over again. And the reality is, I didn't make it here alone. I'm an actress. I don't have expertise in this. I have passion to make sure that people who need these products can get these products and they're affordable and accessible and they work. But why would I do this without one of my best friends and my hairstylist, the person with the expertise? So to me, that made sense. To other people, they're like, you want to split that check? Yes. Yes, my business manager hates when I say this, but I'll give up money because it's the right thing to do. I didn't get here by myself. I don't want to end here by myself. Having a seat at a table, at a long table, without the people that got you there is fool's gold. You will never, that table will never be comfortable. That chair is going to hurt your butt. You know what I mean? It's never going to be right if you don't do right by people. You know, it was a big thing when me and Jessica Alba did LA's Finest. And Jessica had just given birth. And they were like, she's breastfeeding. And I'm like, uh-huh. Yeah. Like, well, she's got this company. I'm like, that's why I want her. She runs an empire. She can multitask. She's a mom. She could do anything. And when we would come in under budget, ahead of time, killed in the ratings, we literally launched a whole, streaming service. They were like, oh, I'm like, yeah, women can do these things. We can multitask. And she deserves every penny. But I had to be the one to lead the conversation and say, I'll give up money. I don't even want to haggle about her worth. I don't mind giving up money to make sure that she is whole. But you have to be, if that makes you uncomfortable, then get uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's the only way forward for all of us. And if your advocacy or your entrepreneurship or your goodness only extends as far as your nose, that you're not a good person. You're a jackass. And I live my life to not be a jackass.
That's a pretty good way to live your life, I would say. That's a pretty good model for all of us to go by. I was thinking, you've spent a lot of this week, I think, reflecting, because it was just recently the 25th anniversary of Bring It On.
Yes. These aren't spirit fingers. These aren't spirit fingers. Yes.
The reason why I want to bring that up is because what we've spoken about kind of throughout this conversation is the idea that you have built an audience over these 25 years plus, because there were quite a few projects we were riding with you before that one. But when you've had this longevity in this industry and you look back, maybe even just on her, on Isis, or the Gabrielle who played Isis, what would you tell her about finding that voice, finding that authenticity, did she know then that all of this was possible?
No, because if you never look behind the curtain, if you never have access to look behind the curtain to see how the sausage is made, you think what they show you is all that there is. And the second I peeked behind the curtain, I said, oh, hell no. Nope. There's more to this. And I want to be a part of making that happen. I want to be a part of how the sausage is made and not just eating whatever they hand me. And, with Bring It On, ISIS didn't even have a last name. And I saw this poll not too long ago where it was like movie villains. And ISIS, gasp, was listed as a villain. And I'm like, because she fought to be able to take credit for her own work? Like, because she was stolen from, but yet somehow she became the villain? And I said, oh no, there's so much more story to this to be told. And I look at my own life in the same way. I'm not a villain for calling out what is wrong, in society. I'm not the villain for telling you about yourself when you've exhibited piss poor behavior. It's not the messenger that you should be slinging these arrows at. It's the person you see in the mirror. So, just like ISIS, bring it, child. I'm ready. I'm ready. She's ready. And you never know that there could be more Bring It On in the universe. ...
I mean, listen, you know exactly where you can mention that later. We will be ready and waiting at Variety. And truly, I just want to say thank you so much for always being that person that is not afraid to speak truth to power and continues to bring it for us both on screen and behind the scenes each and every day. Again, congratulations on Proudly. Yeah, congratulations on Flawless. Congratulations on it all. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.